Hello, everybody. David Schuster here. Just months after the Trump administration fired hundreds of Federal Aviation Administration staff and safety workers, a crisis has emerged, and it's impacting in frightening ways one of America's busiest airports.
We begin this hour with another day of chaos at Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey. Widespread delays and cancellations have now plagued passengers there for 9 straight days.
One veteran controller tells NBC News, don't fly into Newark, avoid Newark at all costs. The FAA blames the chaos on equipment issues, runway construction at Newark, and staffing issues at Philadelphia TradeCon, which guides aircraft in and out of the airport.
What I think you're seeing is you're starting to see cracks in the system.
One of those cracks recently involved this. Newark air traffic controllers lost radio radar communications with planes for over a minute, sparking chaos. Outage took place April 28th, lasted 90 seconds.
No, you do not have a Bravo clearance. We lost our radar and it's not working correctly. Radar service terminates, squawk VFR, green change approved. If you want a Bravo clearance, you can just call the towers when you get closer.
Okay, I'll wait for that frequency from you, okay?
Okay, no, just squawk VFR, look up the tower frequencies, and we don't have a radar, so I don't know where you are.
We know from a source familiar with this incident that happened last Monday that precipitated all of these delays that at least 5 controllers are now out on what's called trauma leave that entitles them legally to 45 days off.
Yes, 5 controllers were so traumatized they had to take days off and maybe off for a month and a half. Aviation experts blame the problems on aging equipment and staff stretched dangerously thin by the Trump administration. February headline: Trump administration firing FAA staff, including safety workers, despite recent crashes. Quote, the positions terminated include maintenance mechanics, aeronautical information specialists, environmental protection specialists, aviation safety assistants, and management administration personnel, but did not include airway transportation system specialists who maintain and certify air traffic control equipment. Former FAA air traffic controller Dylan Sullivan claimed on social media that agency personnel who were terminated maintain every piece of equipment that keeps flying safe, from the radars to the instrument landing systems to air traffic control automation. But instead of taking any responsibility for the problems and safety challenges or detailing any short-term plans to try and fix things, the Trump administration is blaming President Biden's administration.
I know everyone's shocked that the system is so old and antiquated, but it wasn't shocking to Joe Biden and it wasn't shocking to Pete Buttigieg. They knew we had an old system. They saw the GAO report saying it was about to fail. And so the largest infrastructure package, Martha, ever known to man in the history of the world, the infrastructure bill under Joe Biden, $1.2 trillion. They sent only $5 billion to fix air traffic control. And of the $5 billion, Pete Buttigieg spent less than $1 billion to fix this problem.
But that's $1 billion more than the Trump administration has spent. The Trump team says it will soon unveil a long-term plan to try and fix the problems at the FAA, but in the meantime, there is no short-term or immediate plan to try and fix things. And keep in mind that the FAA is down 3,000 air traffic controllers, never mind those recently traumatized and out on leave.
How much longer do you think this could last?
There is no end in sight right now. The FAA not coming up yet with a near-term solution, and they say to replace these controllers who are now out on trauma leave, it can't drag and drop controllers from some other place. It's a very specialized job.
And the fewer the resources there are, the greater the safety hazards for pilots and the airliners. United Airlines, which used Newark as a hub, has now canceled 35 daily flights in and out of that airport. And again, throughout the industry, there are growing concerns about the ability of the FAA to navigate and organize all the aircraft safely.
It can be done, but it could be potentially dangerous, and that's the big thing here. And controllers, they are essentially in this facility stuck in a dark room with the radar scope and the radio. That's the only way they have to see airplanes and communicate with them. This is not like controllers in a tower where they can look out a window and see what's going on. And so when they don't have those resources available to them, they are pretty well hosed. It's pretty hard for them to do this job. And so they're essentially doing the job blind. They need these resources, and this is something that the FAA really has to fix in the immediate.
And the cabinet secretary who oversees the FAA is Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Going into the job, Duffy had virtually no experience in the transportation sector. He was previously a pundit on Fox News, and before that he served as a member of Congress in Wisconsin. And a few years before that, he was a cast member on MTV's Real World.
I mean, a local reporter in the Wisconsin Examiner who has covered Duffy's career since 2009 put it this way. He said, quote, "I only have one account in all those years when he even mentioned a transportation issue." The reporter goes on, I love the emphasis. That's it, one mention of a transportation issue. So yeah, I mean, Sean from the Real World Boston is the guy in charge of our nation's skies at the moment. He is the one who would answer the 3 a.m. phone call. And while he was not picked by Trump for his work on the Real World, that we know of, never say never, we don't entirely know for sure, he was picked, in part, in large part, because of his work on Fox News.
Does any of that make you feel safer or give you confidence that Duffy can fix the crisis at Newark Airport and the problems across the FAA? And by the way, Duffy is not exactly known for being particularly bright. A few months ago, following the helicopter airplane crash in Washington, D.C., Duffy offered this.
I don't want to go into too much detail about the information we have from the FAA, but obviously it is not standard to have aircraft collide. I want to be clear on that.
Gee, thanks. What a relief. Unfortunately, the odds are increasing that there will be more crashes and collisions. Donald Trump and his team, with their budget cuts, FAA layoffs, and ignorance, are clearly making our skies and airports less safe. By the way, Democrat Jared Moskowitz just ripped the Trump plan to try to reopen Alcatraz prison, and Moskowitz did it in epic and hilarious fashion.
First of all, have you been to Alcatraz recently? It literally is it's a rust box walking around. You need a tetanus shot just to go into the building. Do we still give tetanus shots, or has RFK gotten rid of those? I can't keep up.
Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies.
Where did the president get this idea all of a sudden, right? Where did he get the idea? Perhaps he was watching Escape from Alcatraz, right? And I brought boards because some people are visual learners. Perhaps he was watching Escape from Alcatraz by Clint Eastwood. Actually, funny part about that, it was actually on television in South Florida. It was on PBS South Florida over the weekend when Trump was at Mar-a-Lago. In fact, he made his announcement just hours after it aired.
It's long been a symbol, Alcatraz, of whatever it is. I mean, it's a sad symbol, but it's a symbol of law and order. And, it's got quite a history, frankly. So I think we're going to do that, and we're looking at it right now.
And of course, look, this is just another distraction to divert attention away from the tariffs or rising prices or the struggle on Main Street.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Johnny, who wrote, "Laugh my ass off. I truly appreciate Rep. Moskowitz. He's brilliant." Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about the air traffic control crisis that the Trump administration is making worse. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.